Why being jealous of somebody is more normal than you think. Alright, let's get real for a second. You felt jealous before, we all have. It's that uncomfortable feeling that creeps up when you see someone else getting something you want, whether it's success, love, recognition, or even just admiration. And here's the thing, it's more normal than you think. Yeah, you might feel guilty about it or try to push it down, but jealousy is as much a part of being human as breathing or thinking. Today, we're going to dive deep into why jealousy is not just normal, but also how it can teach you a lot about yourself if you're willing to look deeper. Now, let's start with a question: why do we feel jealous in the first place? Think about the last time you felt that pang of envy. Maybe it was when a friend got a promotion that you thought you deserved, or when you saw someone on social media living the life you've always dreamed of. What's happening there, deep down? Well, jealousy usually stems from one core idea: comparison. We compare ourselves to others, and comparison is something that's hardwired into us. From an evolutionary standpoint, it makes sense. In ancient times, comparing ourselves to others helped us gauge our own survival chances. If someone else had more resources, better skills, or stronger alliances, it signaled that we might need to step up our game just to survive. But here's the twist: we're no longer living in those survival-driven societies. Yet, our brains haven't fully caught up. We still compare ourselves constantly: our status, our looks, our achievements, and when we feel like we fall short, jealousy kicks in. It's a signal from your mind that says, hey, you're missing out on something. But here's the thing, jealousy doesn't actually mean you're failing. It just means you're human. Let's pause here for a second and ask ourselves a deep question: is jealousy really about the other person, or is it about the story we're telling ourselves? When you feel jealous, it's tempting to focus on the person you're envious of, to think that their success or happiness is somehow stealing from your potential. But that's not how life works. Their success doesn't diminish yours. It's not a zero-sum game, even though it feels like it sometimes.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Now, here's where we move into some deeper waters. The philosopher Nietzsche once said, "Envy is the mark of the strong." That's a bold statement, right? But what he meant was that envy arises when you see someone achieving something you know is possible for you too. In other words, jealousy shows up because it reflects a deeper desire within you, something you want but haven't yet achieved. It's like a mirror that forces you to confront your own potential, and sometimes that's uncomfortable. So here's a question for you: what is your jealousy trying to tell you? Instead of pushing it down or pretending it's not there, what if you listen to it? Jealousy is like a messenger from your subconscious. It's pointing out areas in your life where you feel dissatisfied or unfulfilled. Maybe you're jealous of someone's career because you're not pursuing the path that truly excites you. Maybe you're jealous of someone's relationship because you're not nurturing your own connections. The point is, jealousy is revealing something about you, not about the other person. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, that's all well and good, but how do I stop comparing myself to others? I hear you. It's tough. We live in a world where comparison is practically built into everything we do. Social media, for example, is like a breeding ground for jealousy. You see everyone's highlight reel, and it's easy to feel like your life doesn't measure up. But here's the catch: you're comparing your inside to someone else's outside. You don't really know what's going on behind the scenes of their life. You might be jealous of their success, but you have no idea what struggles they've had to overcome to get there. So here's a question to reflect on: what would happen if you stopped measuring yourself against others and started measuring yourself against your own potential? Imagine how freeing that would be. Instead of constantly looking outward, you'd start looking inward. You'd focus on your own growth, your own journey, and your own progress. And that's where true contentment comes from, not from being better than others, but from being better than you were yesterday. The inner battle, how jealousy reflects our struggle with self-worth and ambition. All right, let's get to the heart of it. We've talked about how jealousy is normal and how it's often tied to comparison. But now, let's dig deeper, because jealousy isn't just about what someone else has, it's about how we see ourselves. If we really break it down, jealousy often reflects an inner struggle with our own sense of self-worth and ambition. It's not just that we want what the other person has, it's that, deep down, we sometimes doubt whether we deserve it or are capable of achieving it ourselves. Here's a question to think about when you feel jealous. Is it really about the thing you're jealous of, or is it about your fear of not being enough? Think about that for a moment. When you see someone achieve something you want, the jealousy that arises often comes with a sense of inadequacy. It's not just, I want what they have. It's more like, why don't I have that? Am I not good enough? This is where jealousy becomes more than just a reaction to someone else's success. It becomes a reflection of our own insecurities. And this is something that happens to all of us. It's part of being human. But what if, instead of letting jealousy feed those insecurities, we used it to challenge them? What if we saw jealousy as a signal to work on our own self-worth, to remind ourselves that we are deserving of the things we desire, too? Nietzsche, the philosopher we mentioned earlier, had another profound insight about this. He believed that jealousy, at its core, is tied to our ambition. It reflects the things we want to achieve but haven't yet. So instead of seeing jealousy as a negative emotion, what if we reframed it as a signpost, a guide that shows us where our deepest ambitions lie? Think about it. What does your jealousy say about your deepest desires? If you're jealous of someone's success, maybe it's because you have untapped potential that's begging to be realized. If you're jealous of someone's relationship, maybe it's because you crave a deeper connection in your own life. The trick is to stop seeing jealousy as something shameful and start seeing it as a tool for introspection. But here's where things get tricky. How do you balance ambition with self-worth? Because on one hand, jealousy can push us to strive for more, to go after the things we want in life. But on the other hand, if we're constantly measuring our worth by what we don't have, we'll always feel like we're falling short. This is where you need to find a middle ground. Ambition is great. It drives you to grow, to evolve, to reach for new heights. But if your self-worth is tied to achieving those things, you'll never feel truly fulfilled, because there will always be something more to chase. Here's a deep question. What if you could separate your self-worth from your achievements? What if, instead of feeling jealous because someone else has something you want, you could acknowledge your own worth as it is right now, regardless of external success? This is where true peace comes from, when you can hold ambition in one hand and self-acceptance in the other. When you can say, I want to achieve great things, but even if I don't, I'm still enough. This is not easy. It's a constant balancing act. But the more you practice it, the more you start to see that jealousy doesn't have to be a negative force in your life. It can be a reminder of both what you want to achieve and how you need to nurture your relationship with yourself. One practical way to start shifting this mindset is by turning jealousy into admiration. When you feel jealous of someone, instead of letting it spiral into self-doubt, try this. What can I learn from them? What qualities do they have that I admire? How can I incorporate those qualities into my own life? When you switch from jealousy to admiration, you open yourself up to growth instead of getting stuck in comparison. So here's the final takeaway for this part. Jealousy is a mirror. It reflects both your ambitions and your insecurities, but it's up to you how you respond to it. You can let it make you feel inadequate, or you can use it as a tool for self-reflection and growth. The choice is yours. The path to self-liberation, how to transform jealousy into personal growth. Now that we've explored how jealousy reflects both our ambitions and insecurities, let's take this a step further. What if I told you that jealousy can actually be a catalyst for personal growth? You see, most of us think of jealousy as something negative, something to be avoided or suppressed. But here's the twist: jealousy is energy. It's raw, unfiltered emotion, and like any form of energy, it can be channeled. When you learn to transform jealousy, it stops being a source of pain and becomes a powerful motivator for change. Let's start by asking a question: what if, instead of running from jealousy, you leaned into it? Think about it. Jealousy often makes us uncomfortable because it forces us to confront what we lack, or at least what we think we lack. But if you look deeper, jealousy is also pointing you towards something you deeply desire. It's shining a light on your unfulfilled potential. So instead of seeing jealousy as something that makes you less, then what if you saw it as a signal, an opportunity to grow into the person you want to become? Here's a practical example. Let's say you're jealous of a friend who's crushing it in their career. Every time you see them post another achievement on social media, you feel that familiar pang of envy. Now, your first instinct might be to feel bad about where you are in your career. But what if, instead, you asked yourself, what can I learn from them? What steps have they taken that I haven't? What skills do they have that I could develop? Suddenly, jealousy stops being about comparing yourself to them and starts becoming a roadmap for your own growth. The philosopher Spinoza believed that emotions like jealousy are not inherently good or bad, they just are. What matters is how we interpret and act on them. Jealousy can either drag you down, making you feel inadequate, or it can push you forward, inspiring you to become better. The choice is always in your hands. And that's the beauty of it. You get to decide what jealousy means for you. But here's a deeper question. What if the thing you were jealous of isn't even what you really want? This is where things get interesting. Sometimes we get so caught up in comparing ourselves to others that we start chasing things that aren't even aligned with our true desires. You might be jealous of someone's flashy lifestyle or prestigious job, but is that really what would make you happy? Or are you just chasing society's idea of success? Take a moment and ask yourself, what do I truly want, independent of what others have? This is a powerful exercise because it forces you to strip away the noise of comparison and get to the root of your own ambitions. Maybe you don't actually want the high-paying corporate job that your friend has. But maybe what you're really craving is a sense of purpose or creative freedom. When you get clear on your own values, jealousy starts to lose its grip on you. Now, let's talk about a crucial step in transforming jealousy: gratitude. This might sound counterintuitive, but gratitude is one of the most effective ways to dissolve jealousy. When you feel grateful for what you already have, you're less likely to feel envious of what others possess. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance. It reminds you that, while you might not have everything you want, you already have so much to be thankful for. And here's the kicker: the more you cultivate gratitude, the more you open yourself up to receiving even more of what you desire. Here's a question to reflect on: what are you grateful for right now that you once wished for? Think about it. There are probably things in your life today that you once dreamed of having. Maybe it's the job you worked hard to get, the relationship you've built, or even the personal growth you've experienced. When you focus on these things, jealousy starts to fade because you realize that you're already on your own unique path to fulfillment. Finally, let's talk about the power of supporting others. One of the best ways to neutralize jealousy is to genuinely celebrate the success of others. This might feel hard at first, especially when you're envious, but here's the truth: there's enough success to go around. Just because someone else is winning doesn't mean you're losing. In fact, when you lift others up and support their achievements, you're creating a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. So here's the challenge: what if, the next time you feel jealous, you used that moment to cheer someone else on? It's a radical shift in mindset, but it works. When you celebrate others, you're sending a message to the universe and to yourself that there's enough room for everyone to succeed, including you. And that's a powerful place to be. The takeaway from this part is simple but profound: jealousy is a tool. It can either trap you in feelings of inadequacy, or it can be the fuel that propels you toward growth, gratitude, and genuine connection. The choice, as always, is yours. Embracing the journey: how overcoming jealousy leads to true self-acceptance. All right, let's bring this full circle. We've explored jealousy as a normal human emotion, a reflection of our inner desires and insecurities, and even a tool for personal growth. But now we need to look at the final, and perhaps most important, step: self-acceptance. Because at the core of overcoming jealousy is learning to accept yourself fully. Here's the thing: jealousy often arises when we feel like we're not enough, when we believe that someone else's success or happiness highlights our own perceived shortcomings. But what if we stopped looking at life as a competition? What if we embraced the idea that we are already whole, even while we strive for more? This is where the true liberation lies. Think about it: what would your life look like if you fully accepted yourself as you are right now? What if you could look at your own journey and realize that it's uniquely yours, with its own pace, its own lessons, and its own timing? The truth is, no one else is living your life. No one else has your experiences, your challenges, or your perspective. And that's something to be proud of, not something to feel insecure about. When you truly embrace self-acceptance, you stop needing to compare yourself to others. You realize that their path is their path and yours is yours. And that's okay. In fact, that's beautiful. Life isn't about racing to some imaginary finish line where everyone gets the same prizes. It's about growing into the person you're meant to be, at your own pace, on your own terms. Here's a final deep question for you to reflect on: what if you're already enough? Not enough because of what you achieve, but enough simply because you exist. This is the ultimate antidote to jealousy: knowing that your worth isn't something that can be measured against anyone else. It's intrinsic. It's already there, waiting for you to recognize it. Once you embrace this mindset, something incredible happens: jealousy fades. You start to see other people's success not as a threat, but as inspiration. You can admire their journey without feeling like it diminishes your own. And most importantly, you begin to find peace within yourself. The truth is, overcoming jealousy isn't about getting what someone else has. It's about realizing that you already have everything you need to become the best version of yourself. And that's where true self-acceptance and true happiness begins. Thank you for watching, and remember, you are enough, just as you are.